Hello everyone and welcome back to our last lesson of the week, lesson 105, using proportions to solve percent problems.
Slow it
Okay,
down.
so we're going to talk about our percentages. So we know if let's say, I guess, and we're on page 567 in the book. Let's say that we have a percentage of 30%. We know that can also be written as 30 over 100. Right, that's just a definition of the percent. So a percent can be described as a ratio of 30 over 100, right? So this can be used to be able to find values for experiments that you're doing, and using the proportions that we have of our ratios to try and decide what the actual values of things are. So here they have an example, 30% of the paintings were portraits, so 30% are portraits. It says if there were 12 portraits, how many paintings were there in all? So they're gonna do it in your book with a ratio box, right? But I'm just gonna move quickly to how we figure this out. We've got 30%, which is 30 over 100, right? And if you remember from our cross multiplication and with our ratios, we can also write, if we've got 12 portraits, we're going to figure out how many total paintings that is. And we're just doing the ratio. So here's the percentage, right? It's 30 out of 100 paintings, 30 of those are going to be portraits. So if I only have 12 portraits, how many total paintings are there? Okay? So we're going to do our cross multiplication here. We've got 30 times x equals 100 times 12, so 1,200. Okay? So we have x is going to be equal to 1,200 over 30. Okay? So we can take out some zeros here. We've got 120 over 30, over 3, sorry. This is x. 120 divided by 3 is going to be 40. So we know that our total paintings that we had was going to be 40. And that kind of makes sense, right? If you look at the ratios between 30 to 100, 12 is about half of 30, so 40 is about half of 100. You can kind of do that estimation in your head. So they write out a ratio box, right? So I've got the percent, and then I've got the actual. So for portraits, non-portraits, and then the total. Okay? So here we know the percentage is 30, and we know the total is going to be 100. And then our actual value was 12. And so we had 40. Now we can figure out how many are non-portraits. So here the percentage would be 70%, right? Because whatever is left over, 100 minus 30, you have 70. And then we can find how many are non-portraits for our actuals, because we can do 40 minus 12 is going to be 28. Right? So they're using these percentage values as a ratio to try and find out what our actual values would be given some data based on the problem. Okay? So do one more of these real quick. Only 40% of the team members played in the game. Okay? If 24 team members actually did not play, then how many did play? So we've got 24 did not play. Okay? So now this is probably a good case that we can write out one of these ratio tables just so we can keep our facts straight. So we're trying to confuse you a little bit. So I'm going to say did not play D and P and did play DP. And then we have our total here. This is our percent. And this is our actual. Okay? So we have, according to our book, we've got 40% that played. So 40% did play out of 100%. And see, this is where they're trying to trick you up. The answer that they give you is 24 did not play. It's kind of one of those mystery boxes where you're trying to fill in the data. You have some of the data that you need and you don't in other cases. It's kind of like playing the game Clue. You got to figure out what you're missing. Okay. So if we know the numbers that did play was 40%, we know the number that did not play is 60%, right? So now we can find out, since that's our actual, we're going to try and find out the total next, because we can say that 60 over 100 is equal to 24 over a certain total, right? We can't find the did not play yet. We're going to use this ratio here, 60 over 100, to find the total here. Okay, so now I can say that 2,400 is equal to 60 times x. Okay?
Because you cross multiply, right?
Yes, I cross multiplied. I did 100 times 24 and 60 times x. Okay? So now I can say, take off a 0 here, and I've got 240 over 6 is equal to x. So 240 divided by 6, once again, it's going to give us 40. Okay? So now I know our total here is going to be 40. Now I can find the number that did play. I could cross multiply again if I wanted to, but we can also use this value here, the total, and subtract the total that did play, subtract the actual did not play from the total that did play, and we're going to get 16 here. Okay? So we did find that 16 members did play in the game. That's all we have for you this week. Hope you guys are having a great week, and we'll see you again next week.